very strange time, a time where what is evil feels comfortable, familiar, it's even celebrated. And what is righteous, it feels heavy, restrictive, or even offensive for some people. The Bible is not surprised by this. Proverbs tells us very plainly, an abomination to the righteous is an unrighteous man, and the upright way is an abomination to the lawless. Proverbs 29 verse 27. When I read this line, this reflected perfectly on the modern world that we live in. It describes it better than anything I have ever seen. It tells us that when moral order collapses, good and evil reverse their places. They change their places and people confuse them one for another for some reason. I guess that's how devil works. He makes evil look good and good look evil. The righteous way becomes hated, not because it is wrong, but because it exposes what is wrong. And I want to tell you that I have experienced this firsthand. I've been doing very, very evil things in the past that I didn't think anything of. I thought they were fine or even good. And I'm ashamed to say that I was very, very confused with obviously the devil's help, and through seeing the world through this lens, I thought that what I was doing was completely fine. The world today doesn't merely tolerate sin, it makes it easy. But Proverbs reminds us that ease does not mean safety. He who keeps prostitute destroys his health. This is Proverbs 29 verse 3. This verse is not only about money, it's about self-destruction. Sin does not need God to punish it. Sin carries its punishment within itself. Promiscuity destroys the body, the future, and most importantly, it destroys your soul. In our modern context, we see this clearly. Disease, addiction, broken families, emotional fragmentation, all because of promiscuity, all because of lust. Proverbs shows us a pattern. What feels pleasurable now often becomes destructive later. The next truth Proverbs gives us is uncomfortable for modern thinking. A righteous man understands how to judge on behalf of the poor, but the wicked does not understand such knowledge. Proverbs 29 verse 7. When I was reading Proverbs 29, it gave me so much insight. It explained the modern world in so many ways to me, and it gave me clarity about these things. That's why here in this video, I'm only going to talk about Proverbs 29. But Proverbs is such a useful tool for all of us. Every single Proverbs from 1 to 31, they're so important to read and to understand. That's why I really love to read them. So what this Proverbs say about how the wicked does not understand the poor man, he doesn't know how to judge them. It doesn't say the righteous simply feel sorry for the poor. It says they understand, something that we miss. Even as a Christian, sometimes we don't really judge people correctly. To understand the poor, it means not to dismiss them, not exploit them, not romanticize them. These are very, very strange things to do with the poor, and yet we do them. And I'm talking about people who are on the streets and homeless, because there's also people poor in spirit. And this Proverbs also relates to those, because we have to understand that people who don't understand, they need help. And they need understanding, and they need to be judged in their own way, not how we are judged. Today, many people either ignore the poor or use them as symbols, but few actually seek wisdom about their condition. Proverbs teaches us that true righteousness requires discernment, not slogans. And Proverbs does not speak lightly about family. A child who goes astray brings shame to his parents. Proverbs 29, verse 15. When children go astray, the wound is deep. It's not about control. It's actually about grief. What we see today is not just rebellion. Rebellion always has existed. What we see today is actually people running away from their families and not returning. Children will leave wisdom behind and never come back. Yes, they might come back to their home, but they don't gain any wisdom. And that's why parents grieve quietly about this. Homes become empty, not just physically, but spiritually. And I'm talking about this because I also lived through this. The modern world really brings anyone who is under the attack of the demon. People who are the most vulnerable are the people who are going to get attacked the most. And I was definitely attacked by this. I was led astray by the devil from my house, and my parents were grieving so much about this. Now I have finally come back, and I grieve a lot about the things that I have done. And this Proverbs really brought me back to what I lived through. This Proverbs assumes something modern culture often denies. Wisdom must be received. When it is rejected, everyone suffers around you. And now this Proverbs 29 also talks about the danger of hasty words. Our age loves to talk. Everyone is constantly talking, has an opinion, has a platform. Everyone speaks, but very few people actually listen. Proverb warns us, do you see a hasty man and his words? There is more hope for a fool than him. Proverbs 29 verse 20. When I read this proverb, this actually shook me because I never realized that when you are fast to speak, a fool is better off than you. When we are quick to anger to our words, a fool is gonna go farther than we are. That's terrifying because haste in speech reveals lack of discernment. Words spoken without wisdom do a lot of damage to relationships, to truth, to your soul. And Proverbs teaches us that silence can be wiser than speech and restraint more powerful than noise. Let's come back really quickly to the heart of the matter. An abomination to the righteous is an unrighteous man, and to the upright way is an abomination to the lawless. Proverbs 29 verse 27. This explains the tension we feel today. The world does not hate righteous because it's cruel. It hates righteous because righteousness reveals disorder. Light exposes darkness simply by existing. The righteous do not hate people. They hate what destroys people. And the lawless hate righteousness because it reminds them of the truth. Here is the real and crucial clarification. Righteousness does not mean pride. It does not mean cruelty. It means self-exaltation. Proverbs says, arrogance humbles a man, but the Lord supports the humble-minded with glory. Proverbs 29, verse 23. The righteous stand firm without hatred, speak truth without arrogance, and reject evil without becoming evil. The modern world may call righteousness hateful. They may call wisdom outdated, and they may call discipline oppressive, but Proverbs reminds us something very important. Truth does not change because the crowd changes. It was righteous and is still righteous. What is destructive is still destructive. What God calls wisdom remains wisdom. It doesn't change because opinions change. And though the upright may be an abomination to the lawless, it remains the only way that leads to life. So remember, stay righteous. Don't lean into the ways of the world. Amen, and God bless you.